live. We've gone live.
Soylent Green is people. It's
We've gone
people.
live. We're alive. It's alive.
Well, that's enough energy for today. Good night, Vinny.
See you.
Good night.
Wednesday.
Catch you on a Wacky Wednesday for sure. It's
That
a
may be-
it's a morose holiday. Take the day off. Monstrous Monday, and it's Memorial Day, and it's Mikey and Vinny here, like a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 10 past 10 or thereabouts. We were technically delayed this morning.
Sometimes we come
look
on
for us at 10. Yeah.
New York time. Sometimes we come on, California time. Sometimes we come on our own freaking time. It's some time though.
But it's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10:10 thereabouts.
Yeah.
Now, if we're on before 10:10, that's a rare thing. That must mean there's a national emergency.
Right. And one of the things that, Michael, you and I have always felt about radio is that it's too scheduled up. It's too, like, the Norman Davis show shouldn't be from 10 to 2 in the afternoon. The Norman Davis show should be, about 10:30, 11 o'clock. To maybe 2:15, 2:30. Maybe if he wants to leave at 1:30, it's okay.
Oh, so instead of running late, he shows up late, and that's fine.
All right. You have some people who do both: show up late and leave early.
That's called sales.
I've worked next to a number of those people in my life.
Yeah, indeed. Where you going? Clients?
No, I'm talking about on-air people that have, they'll skirt into the studio at 1, put the record on and leave. Don't worry about it.
There was a guy in Philadelphia that Philadelphians will remember by the name of High Lit. Yep. HY first name, LIG second name. And his specialty was getting out of the limousine as the first record was playing. He wasn't even going to be in the building until his first record. High Lit, WFIL, or WWibbage, whatever it was on. And bingo, the first record is playing, and he's not there yet. The jingle has played, the record's on. He's coming. He's in the building. Now, if it's a 2.5-minute record, just getting delayed in the elevator is enough to make you late for your first break. So does he have something in the can that always works? Hey, everybody, it's High Lit, just like yesterday. It's here. In fact, it sounds like yesterday's show. In fact, it is. And High Lit here on WIBG, on Wibbage.
Well, I've had a few things like that happen to me in my life, in my career. The most notorious is when I did the midnight to 3 shift at KUSF.
Midnight to 3. I mean, somebody had to come in at 3?
Somebody had to come in at 3. I did this midnight to 3 shift. Yeah. And I did an oldies show. And then the guy that came in after me did a
new show.
Woo music kind of show. And I loved that shift. It was a great shift. I never wanted to give it up. Midnight on Friday night in San Francisco is a happening night.
Yep.
There's a lot of stuff going on. And you're in the middle of it. So, anyway, but this guy was horrible at getting there on time.
He just couldn't do it.
He just couldn't do it, man. I mean, every once in a while he was there, but, and he left me this like 30-minute record to put on, of this woo-woo ass music. And so I really didn't like this. I was new I wasn't that much of a veteran. Mm-hmm. So I was like,
I can't just put on the record and leave.
I can't put this on and leave. It's against the FCC rules that are up there on the board. And
it's against show business. All the unwritten rules of show business.
But a couple of times he never made it to the studio.
Ever.
And I got a call from the program director at 4:30 in the morning. Like, where's Jose?
Jose's never here.
I don't know. Finally, last time, the one time I got that call, I had to say, "Well, listen, this is what he tells me to do. You're never supposed to do that. You got to stay there until the next guy shows up, or you got to
But
stay."
did you continue your oldies show?
I continued the oldies show, and he
That's a
continued
smart
his
move.
show. So
smart move.
Yeah. But the best city story is one that I think when I tell you, you'll remember. I won't mention her name, but you remember I used to do the morning shift on this Sunday morning on the city, which was I used to do 5 a.m. To 10 a.m. And I loved it. Thought it was the greatest shift in the world. Because you're on, you have, you're kind of opening what you can play.
Yeah.
You can be mellow. You can play longer cuts. You can.
It's Sunday morning. People want it to be mellow.
Yeah, people don't want. It was the mellowest you'll ever hear in New York, Vinnie. It was real. It was really. I almost adapted like a WNEWFM voice, like, "Hey, this is New York Vinnie on the city."
There you go.
Coming up next, we have a little bit of Van Morrison to kind of get you rolling out of bed on this kind of gray and possibly rainy a little bit later Sunday morning. Back.
No, the weather just will not commit, so let's just stay in bed and figure it out.
Yeah, you just want to run outside, grab the Times off of your stoop, get back into bed, start reading that thing because you're going to have a long day to enjoy it. And boom, now here's a little something from Earth, Wind, and Fire. Party on! Anyway, so I get up for my shift, and I used to get up probably started at 5, so I got up at like 2:00, and I would turn the radio on right away just to hear what was, the rhythm of what the person before me was doing. And I turn on the radio, and I hear ka-clunk, ka-clunk.
Yep.
Ka-clunk, ka-clunk, ka-clunk. And, first I'm going, boy, something must be wrong with the transmitter.
Actually, the transmitter was working beautifully.
It dawned on me, wait a minute. I worked at a record store a long time. I know what that sound is. That's the needle hitting the label.
How did she do it?
Well, the person who was on before me used to like to run upstairs to the roof. We were on the top floor on the fourth floor in that building, I guess, or the fifth floor. Yeah, fourth floor. And right outside the studio was that stairway that went up to the roof. And so this person decided she was going to go up and have a smoke. Because at that time, I guess we weren't allowed to smoke. I don't even remember that we weren't allowed to smoke, but she was going up there for some reason.
Oh, you couldn't smoke in studios for years before that.
Yeah.
You can't smoke in studios.
So anyway,
it's really the worst for the microphones than anything else.
So she's so finally I hear this and I get in the car and I go, get dressed, I throw race down. I was living in a Castro at the time. Race down Market, race down, pull up in front of the studio, and there's cop cars in front of the studio. What the
fuck?
So now I'm not sure that I really want to go in this studio for what you might imagine would be an interesting reason.
Ooh.
You could only imagine the reason that I'm thinking maybe not a good idea to go in.
Maybe I think let them handle this.
So I'm hanging out outside. I'm going, but wait a minute. The thing is still going ka-clunk, ka-clunk. So something can't be right. So finally I put my card and I leave stuff in the car and my bag and everything. Lock it in the trunk under the spare tire. And go up. And sure enough, get up to the top floor. Now, I guess what had happened is somebody had seen her on the roof and called the cops. She couldn't get they couldn't get up to the roof. She couldn't get out until I went into our studios to the office, because the only way that door would open was if you came up from the stairway that was in the office.
God, this is so complicated.
And finally, I opened the door and got the biggest hug and kiss I think I may have ever gotten in my entire life. And she says to me, "You're not going to say anything, are you?"
My dear, the whole city knows about it.
All 5,000 people who might be listening to this radio station know about this at the moment. And believe you me, I can't believe that somebody has picked up the phone and called Kate Hayes and said, no,
your station's off the air.
Yeah, and sure enough, 15 minutes later, Kate Hayes comes rolling up to the studio in her nightgown, which was a sight in itself.
Because she intended to put things right and go back to bed.
Yeah.
Little did she know she'd have to fill out a police report.
So finally, I guess they corralled up the police, and they found the police who were lost in the building somewhere.
Keystone Cops.
And I took over the station for the rest.
So the error was made by going to the roof in the first place. If you go to the roof, you can't come back. But this person didn't know that, or never suspected that, or never
what happened was they used to put a block by the door. A piece of wood to hold the door open.
Yeah, but if it's not there, what do? You're still going to smoke your cigarette.
For some reason, she either didn't put it there or it fell. I forget what it was. But the door closed. Maybe it was a gust of wind that pulled the door, knocked the block down.
Maybe it was just an acid trip coming by. It didn't know where to go.
The person that did this was not exactly, shall we say, the smartest person in the world. Very, very wonderful person, but not the smartest person in the world.
I followed that person once on the air, and when I got to the station, which was the city, there were records everywhere. They were stacked as if we were moving the library. It was just crap everywhere. And I remember commenting on it and upsetting this person, which was not my intent. My intent was to say, what the hell? What did you do with all these records? You couldn't play them. Why just stack them everywhere? When you're through with the record, you put it away.
Wasn't enough time.
What is it? What is all this?
Wasn't enough time to play all of those records. And she was also one who, the minute you got there, she was like out the door.
Well, I worked with her
often forgetting to put her records. Oh, could you do me a favor, doll?
Whoa. That's just those are the unwritten laws of the transfer. You have the first hour's spots pulled for your break. You have their first record on if it's a format. You don't leave somebody like that. You simply do not ever.
Right. Carts up, or at that point, it was carts, and the first
pull the spots, pull the music,
pull the spots, and pull the music. So this way, just because you never know. And it was
no, that's hilarious. Yeah, you never know.
And but I'll just never forget that ride I took down Market Street, man. It's like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, man, and I'm just like, and I'm just taking it upon myself to be the savior of the station. I don't know that anybody's coming from anywhere. No cell phones in them days, so you can't call. Hey, Kate, what's going on?
That happened to me at KTIM. I was driving to work, and I didn't know till I got in the car. The DJ, Dennis Jennings was his name. I don't mind blowing your contact, Dennis. Asleep, actually on his hands, with his arms folded in front of him on the board, asleep with the. And he was like that when I walked in. Dennis, no, Dennis, you got to get up, man. Go sleep someplace else.
Wow. Now, have you ever fallen asleep at the
no
at the board?
No.
I fell asleep once. No, twice. Twice. The first, but both times, I recovered right away. Like
Oh, you just dozed off.
Yeah, just dozed. I didn't actually fall asleep. Good night. I like one time I did the board thing. I put a record on, and I leaned down on the board and started listening to the record. And
off I go.
Then all of a sudden, I just heard it. I was out, and I woke up. I probably was out for 2 minutes, and I remember waking up. The record was just winding down, and I found something. Because at KUSF, I used to keep my records for each turntable on each side, and so I don't even think I put the right song on. I just whatever. It's KUSF. And at one time, when I was doing talk radio at Cairo.
No. How the hell did you pull that off?
It was
must have been a long spot break.
And this guy is talking. And he's talking, and I'm going, yeah,
Okay, there you go.
And all of a sudden, I hear the producer from the next room go,
Vinnie,
we're in a spot break. The caller was so boring that that he put me to sleep.
That's painfully boring.
Yeah, that was it was funny because then that was the time that they had me doing sports and then coming back and doing the overnights.
So you would start your shift would start at 2?
Shift would start like 2:00.
Yeah.
I finish up at 9 and then come back at 1.
Wow, you didn't get off till 9? That's a long day.
Well, we did the afternoon sports, and we did a 2-hour sports talk show, and then we had somebody from 9 to 1, and then at 1:00 they came back and did 1 to 5.
Whoa.
I mean, I didn't mind.
What program director thought that was a sustainable schedule for everybody involved?
Well, it wasn't a sustainable schedule, but they were hurting for somebody for overnights. They couldn't find anybody that they liked. They weren't sure if they were going to keep me yet for sports. And so finally, at some point they made the decision, okay, you're going to be the sports guy. We'll find somebody else for overnight. Remember, this was when they fired, remember Dave Delackey?
No.
Dave Delackey was this goofy guy that they had on at night. And he was, oh, Lordy, he was Seattle.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, he was Seattle. He made Larry Nelson look like a foreigner. And
did he ever utter the famous words, "You're not from here"?
I don't think so. I don't think he was a really upbeat guy, and he wouldn't, Dave, if if a bunch of us got in our cars right now and went over to City Hall and tried to shoot the mayor, That's something that needs to be done in this town. Well, yeah, a lot of people say that's something that should be done. Now, be careful. You don't want to get a flat tire on the way down there, and look out for the police. Yeah,
Because they're bound to be involved. If you go shooting the mayor, the cops are going to be. That's the next thing on your schedule is don't get caught.
Yeah. If you're going to shoot the mayor, please be aware that there's going to be cops, maybe even army troops involved. So, all right, and call us up tomorrow night and let us know how you do.
I got a cop story for you that was in the paper yesterday, the Sunday paper. It happened down in San Diego, where the town, National City, was the scene of a detective following a car theft. And he got to the scene, but so did the deputies from the county. And the guy that was the car theft didn't want to give up. He didn't want to be taken into custody. So the detective is in the line of fire, and the deputies open fire on the suspect, but they shoot the detective from the National City Police. They said they saw that he was there. They said they thought they could make the shot. Couldn't. So the detective from the National City Police is suing the county and the deputies for being idiots and shooting him on the street when it was a night that he had everything under control. So he thought. And I'm trying to think of another time when the cops from Union City shot a Manhattan officer on the beat, or the other way around. A Manhattan guy chased somebody into Bordentown, New Jersey. When they got off the freeway, they had a dust up that included the police themselves. It doesn't happen that often, but when people shooting as often as they do now, once they pull their gun, it's not one shot. It's like they empty the sucker, regardless of what the situation is.
Yeah, and it's something that, to me, that I don't know if it's because of the proliferation of automatic weapons or what it is, but whatever happened to the days of just firing one shot into somebody's legs?
Yeah, forget about it. No, it's 2 in the chest, no matter what. If you pull your gun and you use your gun, you better put 2 in the chest, because that's all of the training. Well, that'll kill the guy. We don't know if we want to kill him. Then you shouldn't pull your gun. Well, he had a gun. Well, then we're back to square one. What do you do?
I mean, I know it's easy to say because I'm not a gun shooter, so I don't know the total system of how it works, how it must be in that situation. But again, if you feel like you got to shoot somebody, why isn't it possible? Unless I'll accept an answer. If somebody can give me a good one, I can understand. But why do we always see 6 shots or 20 shots or 46 shots into somebody's body, when I have to admit and think that in 99% of the cases, if you shoot somebody in the leg,
it's
they're
over.
going to drop the gun.
It is over.
If you shoot them in the thigh, yeah, you could hit the artery and kill them, but you have a better chance of hitting the muscle and causing them extreme pain, and again making them drop the gun. Or do I not know what I'm talking about? Am I living in a fantasy world where
in fact the power of the average gun that's being carried now would blow, if you shoot somebody in the leg, chances are you're going to blow the leg off anyway. The impact is so extreme. You don't have to shoot somebody 47 times to actually stop their forward movement. That's ridiculous. And I don't know what it is about cops who shoot 2, 3, 4 times, and then their partner has to shoot 9 more times. And then the guy that just pulled up in his car, he wants to take a few shots as well. And they end up with 60 shots fired at a scene when it turned out that the guy going for his waistband was only going for his phone. He returned 0 fire because he didn't have a gun.
Yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. And I don't want to go off on cops shooting people today because
this is cops shooting cops.
Yeah, cops shoot cops and that kind of stuff. But I just wonder why we haven't and why we haven't developed better methods of stopping people in just a a piece of metal going through their body.
The whole idea of the adrenaline at the scene of the crime is what provides us with a lot of the decision making. And it's not made in a cool, reserved way, because a lot of guys go through their career, and as you know, they never fire their gun. They never get into a situation where they have to defend themselves or shoot somebody or take down an opponent with a weapon. Not everybody, but many people go through their careers without ever having to pull and use their weapon.
And God bless them.
So in a situation where they do finally take their gun out of the holster, their adrenaline's going pretty good. So would yours be?
Yeah, if I had to take a gun, Mike, I've used a gun a couple of times in my life, and every time I've used a gun, I've been scared. I was scared when I went hunting, and I didn't want to kill anything.
Mm-hmm.
But you're with guys, you gotta, and I still wound up not killing anything, except unless you count a 6-pack of Rupert Knickerbocker. Shot old Rupert 6 times in the heart.
Of course, that Knickerbocker beer will get up and walk away if you don't drink it.
Pretty nasty stuff. And the other time was at a range, in summer camp, which Boy Scouts,
mm-hmm.
you have to shoot. It's part of your training. And I never had the love. Like there's people that love carrying that gun, man. And I got to admit, there was a time when I was younger. I remember when I went to Tucson for the first time. My brother and I were in Tucson, and we were downtown. And we drove downtown, got out of the car. We were going to the Western Union office to pick up some money. Because that's how you got money in those days.
That's how you got money. You didn't go to a bank.
Go to the Western Union office.
Why would I go to a bank when someone can just wire me the money?
Yes. And standing in front of the Western Union office, there's a bunch of guys hanging out, and they all got 6-shooters on their hips. Just open carry, just walking along. You don't see that in New York.
No, you don't see that very often in New York.
No, you don't see that at all in New York, except if it was a cop.
And he'd have his holster inside.
Yeah, it was fascinating, though, to see these guys, walking around. And I was fascinated with it. I got to admit, I remember coming back to New York and telling my old man, I want to live there, man. You can walk around with a pearl handle 6-shooter on you, And I wasn't even a cowboy. I didn't even like Westerns. But, I had a little bit of a fascination with guns at that point.
No, your idea of a Western was Superman on the west side of New York. That's a Western.
Yeah, I never liked Westerns when I was a kid. I wasn't into the whole shoot 'em up thing.
Hopalong Cassidy, Roy Rogers, none of that.
No, none of that, man. None of it even remotely. I still don't think that I've seen a complete series of Westerns, of any Western that was ever produced. Like, I don't think I've seen Gunsmoke. I mean, I might have seen 1 or 2 episodes, but I've never sat through an episode. The only one the only one I watched partially was Bonanza. Because my sister used to like Bonanza, and so she won the TV out that night. And I like the theme song was really cool. We are the men, the wonderful men of Bonanza. We got a right to pick a little fight, and that is what we'll do. We are the men, the wonderful men of Bonanza. All for one and one for all, and all for going you. We'll work all day, we'll sleep all night, and then we'll find some girls.
Where's Hoss is what I want to know.
And I always thought Hoss was
Where
cool.
is Hoss?
I thought was cool, man. Hoss, I always thought was cool, man. That dude is, he's like me, man. He's just big and lazy.
He'd go into town and somebody under the influence of too much shut eye or mud in your eye would pick a fight with Hoss, and that would be a terrible day for that individual. I got him. You're just big, that's all. Oh, Hoss, don't kill him.
Yeah, here's a day you're gonna remember. But no, I just didn't relate to them. I related to cars. I related to city. I related to comedy. I related to all sorts of stuff like that. But so what?
Was George Chakiris in Route 66, or was he in 77 Sunset Strip? I can't remember if it was 66
he was in
or
Route
77.
66.
Yeah, he just died this weekend.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, 90 something.
Wow.
I remember.
It's a West Side Story too, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he was in West Side Story.
Yeah. Yeah, West Side Story. No, the 77 Sunset Strip was Ed Kooky Burns and
Biff Jiggerman, Sr.
Who was the 77 Sunset? Ephraim Zimbalist Jr.
Huh. I thought he was in the FBI.
Well, after they kicked him out of California, he was.
He got a federal gig.
And then there was another guy in there for a while, too, in 77 Sunset Strip. Because, see, that's the kind of stuff I liked. Yeah. When I was a kid, that's what I would watch.
Yeah, taking the Corvette to
Sunset Strip.
Yeah.
Hawaiian Eye. All of those kind of cool.
M Squad.
M Squad. I loved M Squad. Oh, my God, did I love M Squad. Oh my God!
It was so dark. The sun never ever came out in Chicago in that whole damn show.
Oh my God! I loved M Squad, man. Lee Marvin, he was just the best, man. I remember years later when I got to meet him, man. I in Tucson, he had a ranch in Tucson. We used to go work on his ranch, and I remember telling him, man, when I was 10 years old, man, you were you were it, man. You were too cool for anything else.
He was hard-boiled, that's for sure.
He was, man. He was. Lee Marvin is one of the unknown badasses.
Yep.
Of early television. He was, made the transition from movie star, and wasn't really a big star. Was more of a character guy. But man, that M Squad, man. Well, see, I loved all those shows too. I loved M Squad. I loved Code 3. I loved Racket Squad. I loved Highway Patrol with Broderick Crawford.
2150 by.
2150 by.
And Broadway Crawford, yeah.
Yeah, and I like the I like the lawyer shows. I like Perry Mason. I liked there was a show with George C. Scott called East Side, West Side. That was back in the and it's interesting with some of these shows because some of these shows kind of formed how I felt politically. Because I saw East Side, West Side was George C. Scott running a social services agency on the East Side, and I forget, I can't remember. It's on. But I remember how much those shows, like the music of the day, just influenced my. My dad was spouting about all these people doing it and ruining the country and this and that. And I'm looking at television and I'm looking at it in a whole different way. I say, well, wait a minute. How come we're not helping these people?
Yeah.
How come we're not? Why are we? Why do they live over there and we live over here? Why can't they live here? Because they're animals.
They're animals. And Ron DeSantis is going to take care of this when he gets here. He's not here now. He's coming. And his motto is, I can be hateful too. So if you got a bad bone in your body, you got it in for somebody. If you're waiting for justice to be done to those people who keep acting that way, Ron DeSantis is coming to sweep all these people away, to normalize conditions. It'll be fine. It'll be exciting to be a white Republican golf player with funny pants. You will not be mocked at the store.
Well, he is, and I do think that he has an extremely good chance of getting elected.
You know, his numbers in California are kind of weird. He started off doing well, but now he trails Trump in a flip-flop that probably mirrors what's going on nationwide.
I think
Trump is such a fragile candidate. His launch was a textbook failure. It's not that he chose Twitter and failed at it. It's that they chose Twitter, made a plan, didn't check it out, didn't have any fail-safe thing in place, didn't have the right people in charge, were completely at the mercy of Elon Musk, who didn't give a shit if it worked or not. It was really an awful display of inattention to detail. And no one ever asked anywhere along the way, Elon, this doesn't look like it's going to work. We got a plan B that we're going to do. We're just going to call the New York Times and tell them we're running. No, I got this. Let me just try a couple more things. Are these mics live? I don't know. Test one. Turns out, yeah, they all were. They were all live through the whole damn thing. And they're whispering, going, sounds like we're on the air. Can you hear it? I can't hear it.
Yeah, if you can't pull that off,
it's a bad sign.
I think
and that means not only him, Vinnie, but all the people around him. All the people around him were supposed to prepare this and make sure it worked. They had double check on anything. They didn't know anything was unprepared for and not ready for the air. They just walked into it like walking into a propeller. And that means that the people around him are inexperienced, or they're true believers and they just assume they can do anything even though they have no talent to do it.
Yeah, I just don't have. First of all, I don't like the idea of Elon Musk getting involved this much in our presidential election. I don't like really the head of any media company. Didn't we just see what happened with Fox?
It's not. Then Fox didn't learn anything. They're not finished by any means.
Yeah, I mean, am I wrong, or did we just see what happened with Fox and their I don't know, their interference into the presidential election, and now we see Elon Musk, who I don't trust. I'm sorry. He builds cars, he's successful at it. He puts rockets up into space, he's somewhat successful at it. He has an internet service that is getting better, but still leaves a lot to be desired. But I still don't like I don't like him. I don't. Well, he does not.
I mean, maybe you saw the story that I sent you the story about the research into their automatic drive for Tesla. And the fact is it's never worked, and they've lied about it all along. And they sell it as a technology, and it's an add-on for your car, and you have to pay for it, but it does not work, and it's never worked. And he knows it, and Tesla knows it, and now we're finding out with investigative reporters of the LA Times that it's been known in the industry for quite a while that their claims about a self-driving car are completely out of comparison to the truth.
Yeah.
In other words, to sell you a car is willing to lie about it, which is just like buying a Chevrolet or a Pontiac or a Edsel. How many lies were told about an Edsel?
Yeah, it just really I don't trust him. Sorry, Elon Musk fans. I know there's a ton of you out there. You think this guy is the thing.
the Messiah.
But I don't buy him. I think there's something evil behind him.
And then the first chance he got when he bought Twitter, he didn't try to make it a better product. He tried to make it a more hateful product. He tried to make it more demanding on the sensibilities of the average American person. It was hateful. It was racist. It was extremely conservative. It was irrational. It was total Trump backing, and all from somebody who has a very checkered South African background, who knows how to hate the right people. The country made itself famous worldwide for doing that. Elon Musk is a product of that society, and he proudly continues that hateful approach to using his tool not for the betterment of society, but for the incitement of society, and to create a platform for people who have ideas even crazier and more violent and more egregious than his. No, Elon Musk says, "I'm here. I can make the world a worse place, far worse than it used to be." How would you like your life to be guaranteed by his rocket? He'll lie to you about his self-driving cars. What makes you think he won't lie to you about the condition of his rockets?
I don't know, Michael. I don't trust him. Although I had a writer on Drive Time, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. My good friend Jill Simonello, who been covering the auto industry for years, and I asked her a very a question that I had not heard anybody ever ask before, which in our business is rare.
Yeah.
Who has done more for the other? Elon Musk for the automotive industry and electric cars, or the automotive industry and electric cars for Elon Musk? And her answer was, she didn't even skip a beat, that Elon Musk is the reason we have electric cars today. That he turned a whole business that was pointed in the wrong direction and scattered, and coalesced them, put them all together, and said, I'm the guy you're going to beat, and went on to put this whole organization together that worked well enough that the big automakers looked at it and said, we got to do this. This guy's got the right idea. Very rare in automotive.
He had a lot of right ideas. He had an idea also about a train for California that was going to run in a magnetic tube. Right. A good idea. Not a bad idea. The idea that these rockets go into space and sometimes actually get there, that's a good idea. I'm not saying he didn't have good ideas. I'm saying that in the rollout of his industry, his plant in Fremont was sued and had created a workplace that was non-conducive for people of different races to work together. They were pitted against one another on the floor. And that went to court, and Elon Musk lost. Telling, if you think that you've got a car that'll drive itself, say so. Show me. But if you know it doesn't drive itself and you lie about it to sell more cars, maybe you're the father of electric cars, but you're also the father of lying more about it than you had to. You didn't have to tell that lie. You chose to lie about the self-driving car. You chose to lie about the technology. You said it worked and it doesn't. You said it was under development, it was going to be better each year, and it's not. So if your plant is a racist platform for a horrible workplace, and your cars are based on a lie, and your rockets sometimes get to space, yes, you can win credit for doing probably some wonderful things. Alva Edison was credited for a lot of things, some good, some bad, but you don't get full credit for just making claims based on your past successes. And what we've learned is that Elon Musk will lie to you to sell you a car, and take money from you, like his famous truck program, for a product that he may never make. So
the trucks are rolling. I mean, the problem with the trucks is they can't make them fast enough. The trucks are rolling. So, I mean, in that respect,
are they called Tesla trucks? Because I haven't seen one on the road in LA that I know.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's a couple of hundred of them out there already. Pepsi and Frito-Lay have the exclusives on them right now.
Got themselves a fleet exclusive.
Yeah, they have the exclusive fleet. My friend is actually doing the he's a decaler. You know, he puts the decals on trucks, corporate decals. And he's doing them. Matter of fact, he had to open up a shop in Sacramento so that he could do them. So the trucks are coming. The other thing that Tesla did last week, which was interesting, is they struck a deal with Ford. So Fords will now be able to use Tesla chargers, which is going to be a game changer, because the one thing that Tesla has done right, one of the things that Tesla has done right, is that they realized that you weren't going to get people to buy these cars unless charging them up was as easy as going to a gas station.
Right.
So while they were developing the cars, they also had the foresight to go out there and to develop the sites and get the electricity and get it all, the infrastructure of a charging network set up across the country. So one of the advantages of buying a Tesla was that there were very few places in the country where you were not in range of a charging station.
Is that true?
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's only, and they may have even fixed it because this was a couple of years ago. I believe that there's only one stretch of, it might even be I-90 in like Wyoming, where there's no, or it might be coming up from Colorado like toward Glacier, where there's, I'm gonna look at it and check it out, where there's no charger.
Highway 25 goes from New Mexico into Colorado. I don't know if it continues up the Rockies or not.
But that was one of the big selling points of Tesla, was that we were going to supply you. You were going to have the means to buy a car that will charge. So in that respect,
that you can take across the country.
Now, that's not to say that you can't take that charger and charge it into a gas station outlet or something like that. It'll take you longer. I'm not seeing that it. Maybe I'll rephrase my question. Longest. I put longest stretch without Tesla charger, but it's not working like that. Longest distance between.
Most miles.
Longest distance between Tesla superchargers. I'm really starting to hate Google, Michael. You know that? There's got to be a better way. Let's see. Largest gaps between superchargers on U.S. interstates. Yeah, so it looks like about 158. I-49 from, wait. I-49, Texarkana, Texas to Lowell, Arkansas, has a gap of 250.3 miles.
Can you run it on moonshine till you run into a charger?
No, I don't think they'll let you. Wichita Falls, Texas to Tulsa, Oklahoma, 242 miles. I'm looking out west here. Kingman, Arizona to Flagstaff, Arizona is 147, so that should be good. Barstow to Needles is 141.
You don't want to break down out there or run out of power and not break down.
I think this used to be the longest one. Billings, Montana to Sheridan, Wyoming, 136.
It's 136 miles? That's all?
That's the gap.
And is the range 140 miles?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you should be okay. The only ones where I would think you wouldn't be okay would be the I-44 to Tulsa. Here in Washington State, they have them at Moses Lake, and then they go from Moses Lake. The next one's in Ritzville. But the Moses Lake ones rarely work.
Rarely.
Unless you have a Tesla, then they work. Key selling point on a Tesla.
They're easy to charge, reliably charged.
So Ford cutting this deal with Tesla.
Did they have to buy the equipment from them?
Well, no, they're just going to send Ford owners an adapter and say, because the Tesla plug is different. So they'll send them an adapter and allow them to go on the network.
There you go.
So we'll see.
It'll make charging stations more popular. There'll be more crowds.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, that's the sad thing of it is that you drive by. When you're in an electric car, it pisses you off because you're driving by the Tesla superchargers and there's nobody sitting there. There's two cars sitting there. And you got an electric car and you're searching around for a freaking charging station. A level 3 charger that'll charge your car quickly. So at some point, and I mean, to me, the money behind the madness is that Tesla wants to gain control of the whole charging network. If I can't sell you the car, I'll sell you the juice for the car.
Well, then they got to make it available so it works on all the electric cars.
No,
they can do that.
Eventually, what they'll do, the oil companies have been slow to the. There's another thing I don't understand is with these electric cars is why hasn't. I know that there's one major oil company that's been actively involved in building out charging infrastructure, and that's Shell. They actually have a division, like a whole division of superchargers or chargers, but they're generally crappy.
Does anybody have like a flying a super stop in the desert? So while you're charging your car, you can buy a raincoat or a Hot Wheel or a cheeseburger.
Mikey, I think that the business model here is very simple. I think that if you built a nationwide, it doesn't have to be nationwide, you could do it regionally to start.
Call it
How
Vinnie.
do you think a group of places along I-5 in California and along 101 in California that had electric charging stations, a convenience store, a person in a coat white coat, white little hat. They
Showing you how to
came
do it.
out, plug your thing in for you, washed your windshield, checked the air in your tires, made sure that your other fluids were okay.
And sang the Texaco song.
And yeah, he can sing the Texaco song. You know, because if you're spending money for that kind of car, aren't you? I mean, part of what you want is service, right?
And one thing you hate to think of is you're just wasting your time sitting there. You could be reading, you could be surfing on your phone. There's a number of things you can do. But what if you need a charger cable or a cheeseburger or advice from somebody behind the counter on where you're going? Where is that hotel?
Right. I mean, in essence, you want to bring back. Hey, how's this? You go to a one of these places, and it has a machine in it, a computer, and it prints out a map of where you want to go,
Or directs your
or it puts it into your phone.
yes, right, exactly.
So in essence, you're doing. The ideas aren't crazy, Michael. They're the ideas that started gas stations to begin with.
Full service.
If you go back to Cheevers and Clapp, the old gas station guys there, they had people who were in there. You pulled up, you got your oil checked, you got your tires checked, you got your windshield washed. You look at if you go on YouTube, they have a lot of old service station training films. I love watching them.
What an ideal world.
I love watching them because some of them are the ones that I looked at when I was a kid that my father used to have to see. I remember what was the guy's name? The Texaco guy would come. Tom Schloman was his name. And Tom used to come to the gas station. He was the liaison between Texaco and my father. And Tom would come on a lunch break, and he'd bring lunch, and sit everybody down in the office, and he'd set up his machine, and he'd show you how Texaco and you can improve your TBA, tires, batteries, and accessories.
Aha.
And it showed you how to greet a customer. It showed you how to talk to the customer. It showed you how to find things on the car that were needed, and to tell the guy, well, we can change your oil in just 5 minutes. And so, there was all these training films. Well, I go back and I look at those and I say, man, if I have an electric car, instead of me sitting out in the Walmart parking lot,
yeah,
trying to figure out why can't I get this thing in the friggin' and then dealing with some half a brain on the other end of a phone who could give a damn less about you because they're working from home answering phone calls.
Never giving you any advice. I have to transfer you to someone who can answer your question. Why was I transferred to you?
Well, because they're paying me $12 an hour to answer your phone call.
But all you do is answer the call. You can't answer the question. Anyone can answer the call. No,
well, that's not what they pay
can't help
for.
you. Can't help you. Oh, you want the question answered? Let me transfer you.
Yeah, and what's your credit card number, by the way?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's where electric cars, at least initially, need to go. There needs to be a modicum of service.
What do you see when you pull on to a charging station in Sheridan, Wyoming? What are we talking about? A pole stuck in the ground with electrical outlets?
I have not pulled to one, so I don't know. It depends on the brand. It depends on so many different possibilities. What company runs it? who it's done by. Let's just see for the heck of it.
Kingman, Arizona. How can I charge my car?
Okay, Sheridan, Wyoming. Okay, so you have a couple of different. You have Tesla destination charges, secondhand blessings, Tesla supercharger, charge point charging station. Let's look at the charge point charging station. So if you were to go to, which looks like it's in downtown, it appears to be located in Sheridan, Honda, and Power Sports. They don't show you. They're closed today.
Oh, God.
So it doesn't even show you. Let's see if I can dig up a photo of where the charge.
Where the hell is it? Yeah, where is it? You can drive around that place all day long looking for it.
I mean, it's got really, they got Hondas all over the place. Got a beautiful old picture of their building from the 50s. More Hondas. But I don't see anywhere on here that shows where there's a charging station. Yeah. Don't see any place where they're inviting you to come in and charge your car.
Do you remember a guy that used to play for the Seattle Mariners named Jacob Nottingham? He just got traded to the Giants. He's a catcher. Jacob Nottingham.
No, don't.
And he wasn't traded to the Rivercats. He was traded to the Giants, but he's not on the 40-man and he's not on the daily roster. So I don't know where he is. I don't know where he landed. Could be a Rivercat. But if you're traded to the Giants, can they assign your contract to AAA, or do you get traded from a major league to a major league team? Do you have to serve on the 40-man, or can you go? Do you go right to AAA?
Well, I think you got to be on the 40-man. But it depends on.
He ain't there.
Well, maybe they have to make a corresponding move.
They have to. They're holding on.
They have a certain amount of time.
Someone's going on the injury list. Yeah, they must. But you don't know this kid?
His dad was a policeman, wasn't he?
His dad was a forest.
Yeah. Was he? How many times do you think he's heard that joke?
Your father was sheriff? No, it's not that Nottingham. No.
Wait, we already got a sheriff. His name is Norm Charlton.
That's why they traded him. Giants didn't have a sheriff.
Giants needed a sheriff. They didn't have a sheriff. Oh, Mikey. How bad we are.
Well, will you see me on a wicked, wacky Wednesday?
Yes, I'll catch up with you on Wednesday. I did want to before we blow out of here, just remind people that today is Memorial Day. It's not a happy day.
It's not a party.
Yeah, it's not a party. That's why I put it. Don't say Happy Memorial Day, because we in this country, I believe one of the biggest faults in this country, and I think this is sometimes where the Russians get it right, is they honor their war dead. They seem to have a reverence for the people who laid down their lives for their country. We do too, but we don't let it get in the way of a good sale.
Well, what I want to know is there going to be good potato salad, or I'm not coming to your funeral? That's all I need to know.
Well, I think today for me, and I always do this on Memorial Day, because it means so much to me. I'm one of those people that realize that I probably would have never had the nerve to storm up a cliff at
Iwo
some
Jima.
beach at Omaha Beach or something like that, or storm into a jungle in Vietnam. I'd have been chained myself to the plane.
Or how would you like to have been a Marine working your way across the Pacific in the war against Japan? That was no picnic.
Yeah, no, I mean my father did that, and the stories he told me and the things he told me, I just don't. I'm not sure that I would have had the nerve to do that. So I respect people that do that, but I also ultimately respect the people who gave their lives in doing that. And I really hope, really hope that people don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of those people who never came back. Now, was it you and I talking the other day where you said they didn't give their lives for their country, but their lives were taken from them?
Yes.
And I really thought about that a lot since you said it. And it's so true. I don't
They
think
were
these
have
guys.
they were having a terrible day, and then it got worse.
Yeah, I just I just think that it's not too much to ask for you today to stop for a minute and just think about those people who sacrificed their lives so that we can be stupid idiots today and go out to the lake and besmirch our country and do all of the things that we do to try to make this place, instead of the best country in the world, try to bring it down to the level of the worst country in the world by arguing, fighting, and bickering and trying to undermine democracy.
We've become a hateful place, and it's odd that it's come to this. But given any encouragement, Americans are get into a hateful mood. It just doesn't take much encouragement at all. One school board meeting, one campaign for president, one senator running for office, or just watching the news in the afternoon with your friends. Won't take long before the hackles come up, the dust is raised, things are said, and America becomes a showplace for hateful, uninformed pea brains.
Because hate in this country has always been there. It's the thing that people early on in this country found out can motivate people. There are people who will be motivated much more by hate than by love. And
Yeah.
we can count on the tried and true invented saying of my good friend Louis Abelafia, make love, not war. But
Give it a shot.
sometimes I
Yeah.
think we've we don't believe that. We think it's better to make war than love. So
I think Lewis had his words well chosen.
yeah,
And it's a challenge to those who think the war comes first. It doesn't.
yeah, it would just be nice that on a day like today that you remember the people who gave for this country the ultimate sacrifice
And
and
think of
stop
the
for a minute.
and think of the wars that are going on right now that we are involved in financially, emotionally, in terms of the chess game that goes on from border to border across the nations, across the planet every year, every week. Think of Ukraine. Think of Somalia. Think of all the hot spots,
Yeah,
and the ultimate solution is You know what we need? We need more jets. We need more guns. We need more bullets. We need more missiles. And that's just Ukraine's order for today. Tomorrow they're going to need more still. And and the funny thing about that war is, you could justify its existence because if Russia were to win, all of Europe would be in play, and the ideas of Vladimir Putin have to be stopped right where they are. Right where he stands today is as far as he should go ever.
Yeah, and somehow it's funny because not funny, but when I was watching that Trump town meeting a couple of weeks ago, it may be one of the only times I've ever agreed with Trump is that the killing has to stop.
Yeah, but what they're saying is, we're never going to beat you on the field. Let's negotiate an end to this. In other words, let's negotiate half your country to Russia.
Right. Well, no, you can't have that either. But the killing does have to stop. The killing at some point here has to stop. You're wiping out an entire country. Kids are dying. People are dying for no good reason. Well, actually, I shouldn't say that. It is a good reason. You're trying to stop a tyrant.
It's an unnecessary war, but it is necessary to win it.
It's necessary to win it, but it is an unnecessary war. All right, Mikey, listen, I will catch up with you on Wednesday if the Lord's will and the creek don't rise.
The creek's not going to rise, and I don't know what the Lord has planned, but he's got a 3-day weekend, so he'll come up with something.
He'll have something by the end of the day today. Just keep watching CNN. They'll tell you.
What a wine. That's all I want to say.
Hey, peace, love, and Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine, I'm telling you. See you, Vin.
Have a good one, Mikey. Love you, pal.